Well, I'm out here in the beetle barn today. It's Friday the 19th of October. As you can see, I got a disaster. Typical out here. I get a couple days a week where I can play out here in the barn, and you know, I never clean up my mess, and then things accumulate throughout the week. A bunch of lights here. There's a company going out of business in a certain location. Anyway, they're demoing everything and selling everything, and I bought this little pile of fixtures here, all 120 volt, and some miscellaneous wire and these boxes of bulbs to go with. Anyway, I gave them $16 for the pile, and those will, you know, help out lighting in the booth if I ever build one here inside the shop. In the meantime, I got to find a place to put them, stash them away for the future. I do a lot of that, collect stuff. Anyway, the point of this little video, for now, I've been kind of neglecting it. Been working on this little project over here, off and on, which I may try to do a video on. Explain what I've been doing to it so far. Anyway, just a little toy, something to play with, and you know, might make a good Christmas present for somebody, but we'll see. But the point of today's little blurb is to kind of wrap up a video I did a couple weeks ago where actually I did it a couple weeks ago. I have not put it up because it was, when I watched it later, it was kind of incomplete. I got interrupted and never finished my thought. You know, anyway, I don't always finish my thoughts. But a while back I did a thing about breaking the spindle off of old Maynard, and I figured this thing here would make a good example. A couple weeks ago I did tried to do a video on adjusting the king and link pins. Well, actually, you don't adjust the king pins, but adjusting the link pins on these old school front beams, the type that I run in Maynard, king and link pin variety. And anyway, so I had to adjust some looseness in the front end, and part of it was the link pins, and then part of it was wheel bearings needed to be adjusted. Anyway, but it didn't seem like if you didn't know what I was talking about, you could understand it. So I was going to use this as an example since it's torn off the car, and maybe then I'll throw that other video up behind this as to what I was doing. Well, I was hoping to come up with apples and apples to do a comparison on this stuff, but I came up with I don't know, peaches and watermelons maybe. Anyway, I'll try to explain this thing here a little bit so that when I throw the rest of that video up, they'll kind of understand what I was adjusting. Anyway, we've got the spindle here. Maybe I'll back it out just a little bit. Hopefully this will all work out. Anyway, we've got the actually the end of the axle. Spindle used to be here. Anyway, this one's broken off. But you have kingpin runs all the way through here, and then you have link pins which run this way into trailing arm, which would go something like this in the real world. Anyway, then that allows this to go up and down when the bolt's tight and things aren't bent. And then you can rotate this way for your steering on the kingpin, bushing in the top, bushing in the bottom, straight, well actually bushing at the top of this piece here, in here, below the link pin actually, the bushing's in here and in here, and then the pin runs through the center here and it pivots. And then you have a link pin which runs through here, and then this locking bolt, the trailing arm is split here, I think you can see, and this bolt clamps down onto that pin at the proper adjustment. There are bushings in here on a Beetle, and what I have for comparison are some bus parts. I couldn't find any Beetle link pins, so I got some bus stuff here, old bus stuff. But anyway, the link pin goes through here, gets clamped, and then this bolt actually runs through. This here is a bus part, bus link pin. The bolt actually runs through this groove that you can see in the link pin, and it's like it's on a taper, so that you can on the other end of it, it's squared off. You can put a wrench on it, crank it in and out to adjust the slack in here. And then there are a bunch of shims that go on either side. And when this is in the car, actually, you when you have this off and you have your two trailing arms in the car up and down, you measure up and down. You measure the difference in the distance. When you have your beam level, you can use a string and hang it from the top trailing arm down. Then you measure the distance different between the top and the bottom, and that determines the number of shims on the inside and on the outside of each of the link pins which go through here. It'll go through, and you'll put a certain number of shims here and a certain number of shims here based on the difference in the distance in and out of the upper and lower trailing arm. Anyway, that's all explained in multiple books. I, as usual, use the idiot book just because that's what I learned with, and guy knows what's going on. Anyway, these bus parts here are some stuff that one of the single cab trucks I have here was a lowered project that never got finished, and I had to take everything apart and come up with bits to put it back together. They actually took the spindles, this piece, off, and went, basically you just take the right one off and you flip it upside down, put it on the left side, and then the left side comes over the right side upside down, which actually lowers the bus. There's a few other modifications that have to be done when you do that, but these are some old parts and crap that I had laying around and managed to come up with this pan. On a bus, they don't have actually a shim in here. They use needle bearing. Here's what's left of one, all rusty and crusty, but they actually have needle bearings in a bus. The old buses are rated, pretty heavy, like 3/4 ton. And then when you get up into the big nut rear trannies, I think they're rated 1 ton. Good old trucks. And the old single cab Volkswagen actually has the largest bed of any pickup type truck ever in production. But anyway, this is kind of a quick explanation of how this stuff kind of works. If you tear one apart, you'll see it better, and nothing to be afraid of. You can always put it back together, or have somebody do it. It's not that expensive. But anyway, that's kind of a quickie of what I was adjusting on old Maynard. It was getting pretty loose on the lower end of these, so I adjusted up some of the slack in this slot, and I'll run it that way till I can't adjust it anymore. And then I'll press the bushings out. Then you press your kingpin out of there and get those bushings out, and push everything back in, put all new stuff in. Kits aren't that expensive. Anyway, quick explanation. Maybe I'll throw that video up. Thanks for watching.